Live stream, we have another round of snow moving through the area right now. This is not as heavy as what happened last weekend. Of course, last weekend was really a historic level of snow, but still, this is coming down on many spots where the roads are already covered in snow. Some spots where the roads have been cleared. That's Kansas Avenue in downtown Topeka, and a couple of hours ago it was looking all right. Now you can see the cars are getting through there okay, but there's certainly snow covering just about every road in Topeka again. Many of the residential streets still covered in snow, and this is just going to add on top of that mess. We already have quite a few closings for tomorrow, but it wouldn't surprise me if some schools that haven't canceled for tomorrow wind up doing so. So make sure you're checking WIBW.com, the WIBW News app. You can get those sent to your phone as a push notification, but we're going to have more closings, cancellations probably coming out for tomorrow. Visibility in Topeka is officially 1.7 miles. So what you'll notice about this snow is a couple of days ago when it was extreme snow, we couldn't see more than about a city block. Now you can see about a mile, and again it's 1.7 miles at the airport. That's kind of how we measure snow intensity. At least the meteorologists, that's how we measure it, is how far can you see. It's not just how big the snowflakes are and that kind of thing, but if you can't see more than a quarter of a mile, then the snow's coming down in greater intensity. That's the parking lot here at the TV station. A little while ago we were cleared out, and now we're back into the mess like a lot of folks are. I want to show you what's going on in Wichita. This is where the snow is coming from. Look at these numbers. They have some 4s, 5s for the snow amounts already from this evening. That number right there is 4 inches, and that report's just from 7:25 p.m. So that snow is what's moving northeast. So to see a location like Emporia or Burlington with as much as 4 or 5 inches of snow wouldn't be a huge surprise out of this at this point. Looks like the Weather Service says they've got a ½ inch of snow so far in Topeka, but again, it's still coming down. Now there's the radar. What you'll see is this a batch of snow is not as heavy to the north. Manhattan, Marysville, Clay Center, you'll get some snow out of this, but the heaviest snow is certainly in areas that are already seeing it, and where the bands are coming in from the southwest. So looking a little farther to the south, there's the heaviest of this storm, which is really surrounding Wichita at this time. As I mentioned, they've got some 4s and 5s around the city of Wichita at this point. There's actually some spots in south central Kansas as much as 6 and 7. So in Wichita, the snow is not done. It's going to be going for a couple of more hours, and that band of the heavier activity is making its way to the north and east. We saw the National Weather Service from Wichita extend a winter storm warning up to Chase County, and I think Marion County's in that as well. But we don't have anybody in northeast Kansas in this. So Lyon County's not in it yet. I asked the Weather Service if they were considering going with the winter storm warning as far as Lyon County, and they said not at this point, but it's certainly a possibility. So looking at Lyon County and Emporia right now, you can't see more than about a mile to the intersection there. This is a live look from downtown Emporia from the Lyon County History Center, and you can see the snow is probably a couple inches deep, and that road was clear earlier, but this is at least 2 inches of snow there that's fallen in Emporia just over the last couple of hours, and that will continue until probably 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So Emporia, I've been saying you're probably in the higher end of the 1 to 3 inches of snow, but from what I'm seeing now, Emporia could easily get 4 out of this storm system. So Emporia, you're probably going to get one of the higher numbers out of this for northeast Kansas. In Council Grove, I can't see more than a mile there. The city, downtown, is here on the right side of the image. Highway 56 right over there, and you can see some of the lights there along the highway, but the snow in Council Grove still coming down fairly heavy at this time as well. And again, all this is moving from the southwest to northeast. The burst of the heavy snow from Wichita that's moving up the turnpike looks like it's losing some of its intensity as it gets into Lyon County, but you know, it's not losing a lot. Either way, what you can see of this is we have snow falling. Lawrence, Topeka, Council Grove, Emporia, Osage City, it's falling right now, and this is not going to stop for several hours. It's still backed up all the way down into Oklahoma, and there's not a factor coming along that will shut this off before 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. You've got at least 6, 7 hours of snow left to go on this, and it's not going to be any sort of high-end, 2 or 3 inches per hour kind of stuff. But if it continues snowing at night, maybe a ½ an inch per hour, that adds up pretty quick when you've got 6 or 7 hours of snow in the dark and plenty of time for it to fall. So we've got a long night of the snow likely to continue falling around here. So snowfall reports the last 24 hours. Again, there are big numbers around Wichita, some 5s, 4s and 5s there, and that's making its way toward Emporia. Emporia's got probably 2 on the ground right now. I really think we'll see a pretty widespread batch of 1 to 3. Areas like Topeka could be closer to 2, but maybe even 3. Down to Emporia, I think you're going to meet a 4-inch most likely, and then folks around Burlington, even Osage City, you might be in 4 inches of snow. That's a real possibility. So checking out Supercast, there's 10 p.m. Again, Clay Center, Marysville, up to Concordia, you're going to see lower amounts out of this, certainly less than an inch, maybe just dusting or just some snowflakes. But south of I-70 is the highest likelihood of seeing an accumulation of this that's more significant. And our computer models, this updates every single hour, so that's showing that Topeka goes in the 2.5 category now. Emporia 3, this area of darker blue, that's where we're seeing the 5s that are already showing up in some spots. So I really think Emporia, even Osage City or Burlington, could be 4 inches of snow out of this. Topeka might be closer to 3. This system looks like it's performing a higher end of what its capabilities are going to be. Now, one blessing of this is the temperatures are not super cold. We're in the upper 20s to lower 30s, and we don't expect to see an Arctic chill behind this. High temperatures the next couple of days should be close to 30, 32 degrees. So this last time we had the extreme snow move in on Sunday, we saw several mornings with lows near 0. We've had several afternoons with highs in the teens. So this isn't like that, but it's on top of snow that's still been around all the way since Sunday. Tomorrow morning's Friday morning, so obviously this thing's been around for a long time. So the winds are coming from the northwest, not very strong, and temperatures are in the 20s and mid-20s behind this cold front. So again, this isn't Arctic air like the last one, but it will be cold, and again, 1 inch to 3 of snow is certainly likely out of this. Let's go back and start the presentation again here and go back through the graphics from the beginning. And again, we're seeing snow that's heaviest to the south. Areas around Wichita have already seen 4 or 5 inches of snow around the city, and that snow has been coming to the northeast, heading toward us. Now, one of the nice things that I'm noticing here is, as you look out from downtown Topeka from the Cyrus Hotel, I can see a decent distance. When you're in the heaviest of the snow, you typically can't see more than about a city block at the most, so the visibility here is 1.7 miles is what the National Weather Service has for our official visibility so far in Topeka. So that means the snow is not coming down at an extreme level at this point, but still causing some trouble on the roadways obviously already. Let's check out some of the cameras around the city. There's the I-70 east at Wanamaker, and jumping over to Gage at I-70, snow covering the highway again. Earlier we had the snow cleared off pretty well on most of the major roads, but now it's covering up again. Let's check down to the south around Emporia. Here's a look at I-35 at Burlingame. You can see the interstate covered in snow there. That big rig driving through is covered in snow, probably coming from the south, I'm guessing by how much snow he had on it. And then down to the Matfield Green exit, or not the exit, but Matfield Green is close to that. It's just too dark to see. But once you get to Wichita, this is an all-out mess now. Let's check that out. There's 96 Chisholm, I believe. And let's check out these incidents they had here. They had at least one accident and one car abandoned. Right there in the middle of the shot, you can see, I believe that car is abandoned. They had an accident up here, but the roads are just absolutely covered there in Wichita. And we've seen fairly widespread 4 or 5 inches of snow around town there. There's a report from 7 p.m. of 3.5 inches, but some of the more recent reports, there's 4 inches at 7:25, and there's a 5 inch at 7:07 p.m. at Valley Center. So this is still coming down heavily there around Wichita, and a lot of that's coming northeast, heading toward areas like Emporia and certainly Topeka and Osage City. But again, around Emporia, I would not be surprised if you had a 4 inch snow out of this. Osage City could have the same. Burlington could have a 4 inch snow out of this. Topeka, three is probably the highest we would go with this. But these storms have been, obviously the last one overperformed, and now we got this one moving through. So again, there's the live view of downtown Emporia from the Lyon County History Center, and you can see the snow is covering downtown, and that's new snow. They had the roads cleared there very well. At least downtown was cleared very well, and now it's covered within about 2 inches of snow. It looks like that's there covering the road at this point, and still coming down fairly heavily. So I would not be surprised at all if Emporia winds up with a 4 inch snow total out of this. Council Grove's been snowing fairly heavily over the last couple of hours, on and off. Looking to the east there, or west there, I can kind of see the downtown lights, so the snow is moderate, maybe light. It's not as heavy as it was earlier, but this snow is backed up a long way. It goes all the way down to northern Oklahoma, and it's all coming to the northeast. So this is not going to end, in the next couple of hours. This is going to take until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning before it all moves out. But these big bursts of snow you see down in the south central Kansas, north central Oklahoma, that is all moving in our direction. So we are going to get more accumulation out of this, no doubt. And again, the higher numbers so far I've seen are down there where it's already been snowing for a few hours. But Wichita with some spots with 3 to 5 inches. There's an 8 I see that's popped on there now. That's Hartner, Kansas, I believe you have pronounced that. At 8 inches of snow at 6:51. And there's a couple spots with 6s, 7s, and even 8s around there. In northeast Kansas, the only report I've had so far was the Topeka Billard Airport says they've had ½ an inch of snow so far, but it is obviously still falling. So 1 to 3 is going to be common in northeast Kansas from this tonight. The numbers will taper off the farther north and west you go, but Topeka, Emporia, Burlington, even Lawrence, pretty sure we're going to be in the higher end of that. The 2, 3, maybe even 4 is possible for areas like Topeka, Lawrence, Osage City, and Burlington. I'll draw this on here. It's kind of judging by the pattern I'm seeing developing in the amounts that are in Wichita. This area I've circled in here could be as much as a 4-inch snowfall. I don't think we'll get the 6s or 7s like they've got down in Wichita, and it's just southwest of Wichita, but certainly somebody with a 4, even a 5 would be in play. To the northwest, Clay Center, Marysville, Concordia should not see as much snow from this. And you can see that on the snow totals projection here, that these areas to the north and west seeing much lower numbers. Hiawatha there with a 0.2, Holton with a 0.9, but the highest confidence of seeing a snow accumulation, Council Grove's been snowing for a while as well, but Kansas City, Lawrence, Council Grove, Emporia, Burlington, Osage City, these regions certainly going to be at least in the 1 inch, at least in excess of 1. I think Emporia's already got 2 on the ground. It may be closer to 4 or even 5 by the time this ends. All right, so temperatures right now are close to freezing. That's good news that when it's close to freezing, it's easier for the road crews to clear the snow off the roads. When this last round of snow hit last weekend, we had temperatures drop off to 0 shortly thereafter, and it's much harder to clear snow once it gets that cold. It's just it's harder to get it off. The snow doesn't melt with the different solutions that the road crews use to clear it once you get that cold. So there's all kinds of different problems that happen once you get to the temperatures that cold. All right, so we'll go back to the graphics one more time here, and then I'll break off this stream. We'll get ready for the 9 o'clock news and 13 news at 10. This is not as big of a storm as last time, obviously, but there are going to be some closings, cancellations, and the roads are very slick. I was on the road just about 30 minutes ago, driving back here into the office, and I need to stop and see my kiddos for a minute, of course, but the roads were very slick. That probably would not surprise you, but roadways that were not that well plowed already were worse. And 21st Street, Wanamaker, those were very, very slippery. The roundabout here by the office, I got a little squirrely on that and had to do the old steer into the skid. I was not going very fast. I drive pretty conservatively. When we have snow, I don't drive wild, I just don't. But I was doing, going around the roundabout here at the top of Wanamaker, and I had to do the old steer into the skid because I got a little fishtail, I guess you call it, as I was going through that roundabout there. Not terrible, but still I was sliding and had to correct that way. 1.7 miles of visibility. That means the snow is not extremely heavy. It's more in the moderate category so far. There's an 0.8 of an inch amount just south of Olathe. Topeka, ½ an inch so far is the number at Billard Airport, but that number is going to come up. So there's a burst of heavier snow right there just northeast of Emporia heading toward Osage City. That's going to be one that could produce an inch of snow per hour. And then zooming out, this is the axis of the heaviest snow down to the Wichita area and to south central Kansas, and that's all moving in this way. So around Emporia, again, that burst of heavy snow just northeast of town heading for Osage City. This is what it looks like there in downtown Emporia. That's probably 2 inches of snow on the ground and still coming down fairly heavily. You can see about a ½ mile looking northward from downtown there. So it's coming down definitely in the moderate category, not quite heavy at this time for that kind of visibility. And then from Council Grove, again, the snow is coming down heavy enough. We can still see the city lights over there from downtown. So I'd say it's coming down light to moderate now. And then zooming out, again, these bursts of snow in south central Kansas, a lot of those are pretty heavy. But this batch is coming into Osage County from the southwest now, moving up the Kansas Turnpike. That could bring a full inch of snow to Osage City over just the next 90 minutes or so. But if this is backed up for 200 miles or so to the southwest, we're going to be at least until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning before the snow ends. And by then, many of us will be in this 1 to 3 inch category of snow. I'm almost surely going to bump the number up to 1 to 4 for the 10 o'clock newscast. So 1 to 3 is what I'll put on the Happy Snowman here. But I'm going to change that number to a 4, as I really think that Emporia, Osage City, and Burlington would be strong candidates for a 4 at this point. Topeka, I'd be kind of on the fence of a 3 or a 4, but 4 is certainly possible. Anybody that is south of the Kansas Turnpike at this point would be a candidate for a 4-inch snow from what I see. The National Weather Service did go with a winter storm warning up to Chase County. They, if this continues to get heavier, they may go with a winter storm warning into Lyon. Or Coffee or Osage would be a possibility. I don't think they'd go as far as Topeka with the winter storm warning, but it's in play, I guess. But the next few hours, we'll continue to see this moderate to heavy snow. Areas close to and south of the Turnpike are going to have the higher numbers. Council Grove, you're probably going to have a 2 or a 3. Manhattan, probably a 1 at the most. Clay Center, Marysville, you'll be less than 1. Hiawatha, Seneca, you're going to get less than 1 inch of snow out of this. And it's all done with at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And the latest computer projections there showing Emporia with 3, but I think we need to add at least an inch, about an inch onto some of these. I think we would add 1 inch onto this projection on Supercast. So we'd say Topeka with 3.5, Lawrence 3.2, Osage City about 3.2, Emporia I would say 4, and Burlington I would say 3.5 or 4, Council Grove about 2 or maybe 3, but the numbers up here to the north, Abilene, Manhattan, Holton, those numbers are probably the maximum you would get. But farther south, we need to add about an inch on these numbers for Topeka, Emporia, Burlington. Either way, we have a lot of schools that are already closed for tomorrow, and I would certainly be checking back to see if more schools might get closed, because with this snow falling and a lot of the roads that are already a mess, this is going to, and I would say the resources to clear from the historic storm we had this weekend, a lot of those resources have been stretched to their maximum, so these snowplow drivers have been just driving hour after hour, and I would say that it would be harder to clear this than it would be if we just had dry conditions and suddenly we got a 3 or 4 inch snow. So this may hit harder than a typical 3 or 4 inch snow would, because we already have the conditions that are so nasty across the area. So again, I would say in this map I'm going to add about an inch on Topeka. I would say about probably 2 to 4 Topeka, Emporia, Lawrence, Burlington, Osage City. This is going to be a 2 to 4 inch region, including Council Grove too. And then north, Holton, Manhattan, Abilene, you're going to stay in the 1 inch category or less to the north. But Topeka, Council Grove, Emporia, Osage City, Burlington, Lawrence, and even Kansas City, especially the south side, are going to get bumped into a 2 to 4 inch category almost for sure out of this. So I'm going to end the live stream here. Get ready for a 9 o'clock news. I'll have an update on 13 News at 10. I'll have an update coming out on the app and, of course, on social media as well. Stay with us here on the WIBW channels. We'll keep you safe and informed.